On October 22, 2024, a 2014 Toyota Prius rolled into my shop at exactly 9:47 in the morning, and the woman behind the wheel had no idea she was about 11 days away from being stranded on the side of a highway. The car looked fine. It sounded fine. The dashboard was clean. But three small things told me everything I needed to know. Today, I am revealing the 5 quiet warning signs every hybrid driver must catch before that terrifying red triangle lights up your dashboard and turns a $200 repair into a $4,500 disaster. She came in for a simple oil change, nothing more. She mentioned the car had been getting a little weird lately, but she could not explain what weird meant. Hybrid owners almost never can, because hybrid problems do not announce themselves the way regular car problems do. There is no clunking, there is no smoke, there is no leak under the driveway. Hybrid systems whisper, and by the time they shout, the repair bill has already tripled. Most drivers do not even know what the red triangle of death is until it appears on their own dashboard. It is a single triangular warning symbol, usually accompanied by a master warning chime and a flashing check hybrid system message. The moment it lights up, the car typically refuses to start, refuses to move, or enters a crippled limp mode. Tow trucks. Dealership quotes. Talk of hybrid battery replacement starting at $2,800 and climbing past $5,000 depending on the model and year. For some drivers, that triangle is the most expensive moment of their year. For some, it is the moment they decide the car is worth less than the repair and sell it for parts. But here is what almost nobody understands. The red triangle is never the first warning. It is the last one. Long before it appears, your hybrid has been sending smaller, quieter signals for weeks, sometimes months. And almost every driver misses every single one of them because they look harmless. They feel inconsequential. They get dismissed as quirks, weather, gas quality, or just the car getting older. I have been working on Toyota and Lexus hybrids since the first Prius came over from Japan, and I can tell you with absolute certainty that I have never seen a red triangle appear without at least 3 of the symptoms I am about to walk you through showing up first. The drivers just did not recognize them. Today, you will. The first sign almost everyone gets wrong is the 12-volt auxiliary battery. Yes, your hybrid has 2 batteries. The big high-voltage hybrid battery in the back gets all the attention, but tucked under the hood or in a small compartment near the rear is a regular 12-volt battery, and it is the single most misunderstood part of the entire hybrid system. In a gasoline car, a weak 12-volt battery just means the starter cranks slowly. In a hybrid, a weak 12-volt battery is a system-wide disaster waiting to happen. That little battery does not crank the engine. It boots the computers. It wakes up the inverter logic, the hybrid control module, the brake actuator, and the dozens of relays that have to confirm everything is safe before the high-voltage system is allowed to engage. If voltage drops below threshold during that boot sequence, the car interprets it as a hybrid system fault, not a battery fault. That is where the trouble starts. When the 12-volt battery begins to fail, the system gets confused. Dashboard lights flicker on startup. The radio resets itself. The clock loses time. Doors lock or unlock on their own. The dome light dims briefly when you press the power button. These are not electrical gremlins. These are the early screams of a 12-volt battery losing its grip. And here is the part the dealership rarely tells you. A failing 12-volt battery is the single most common cause of false red triangle alerts. I have personally cleared dozens of hybrid system warnings just by replacing a $180 battery. People came in convinced they needed a $4,000 hybrid pack. They drove out with a fresh AGM battery and a car that ran perfectly. Test that 12-volt battery every year after the car hits 5 years old. Test it before winter. Every winter, no exceptions. The second sign is the hybrid battery cooling fan, and this one is sneaky because it lives inside the cabin, usually behind a vent in the rear seat or trunk area. That fan exists for one reason: to pull air across the high-voltage battery and keep its temperature within a narrow operating window. When the fan starts running at full speed on cold mornings, when it runs constantly even after short trips, when it sounds louder than it used to, or when you hear a deep humming whine from the rear of the cabin, the battery is telling you it is struggling to stay cool. That usually means individual cells inside the pack are beginning to become imbalanced. Some cells are working harder than others, generating more heat, and the system is desperately trying to compensate by ramping up airflow. There is also a darker side to this. That fan pulls cabin air, which means dust, pet hair, and debris build up over time. A clogged intake screen forces the fan to work harder while delivering less air, and that accelerates battery aging. Pulling that screen out and cleaning it takes 10 minutes. I have rescued hybrids that were 2 months from a red triangle simply by cleaning a fan intake nobody had touched in a decade. If you have never even looked at yours, that alone might be the most valuable thing you do this week. The third sign is one of the most reliable predictors and one of the easiest to ignore. Fuel economy. A healthy Prius should sit comfortably in the 45 to 50 miles per gallon range for most owners. A healthy Camry hybrid lives near 40 miles per gallon. When those numbers slowly drift down, 4, then 6, then 10 miles per gallon, drivers blame everything but the battery. Cold weather, tires, different gas station, short trips. But hybrid fuel economy is a direct readout of how healthy your battery is. When the high-voltage pack starts losing capacity, the gasoline engine has to run more often and for longer to compensate. The car spends less time in pure electric mode. Regenerative braking returns less energy because the battery cannot accept or hold a full charge. The whole system shifts toward the gasoline side, and your fuel economy reflects that shift before any warning light ever appears. Watch your trip computer. Reset it monthly. Track the numbers honestly. If your hybrid is dropping more than 10% below its long-term average and the weather is not extreme, your battery is talking to you. Listen now, while the fix is still affordable. The fourth sign lives in the inverter cooling loop, and this is where I want every hybrid owner reading this to pay extra attention, because it is one of the most commonly missed warning signs of all. Inside your engine bay, there is a small electric water pump dedicated entirely to cooling the inverter, the component that converts the battery's direct current power into the alternating current the drive motors actually use. That inverter generates enormous heat, and the pump is what keeps it alive. When the pump starts failing, you will hear a faint whining or buzzing sound from the front of the engine, often most noticeable when the car is in ready mode but the gasoline engine is off. It is subtle. People mistake it for normal hybrid noises. It is not. A failing inverter pump on the 2010 to 2015 Prius generation is one of the most documented precursors to the red triangle in existence. Toyota even issued service campaigns and limited service programs for this exact part on certain model years because the failure rate was so well known. A new pump runs around $150 to $250, and it takes about an hour to install. Letting it fail completely can cook the inverter. An inverter replacement is somewhere between $2,500 and $4,000 depending on the model. If you hear that whine, do not wait. Pop the hood, Put the car in ready mode and listen near the front of the engine. If anything sounds electric and stressed, get it checked. The pump itself is one of the few hybrid parts you can replace in your own driveway with basic tools in an afternoon. The fifth sign is the one most experienced hybrid owners eventually learn to read: the state of charge display. On most Toyota hybrids, you can see the battery bars on the energy monitor screen. A healthy battery moves through its charge range smoothly. It drops gradually under acceleration, climbs steadily during regenerative braking, and rests comfortably in the middle bars for most of normal driving. When cells start to imbalance, that display starts behaving strangely. You will notice the battery jumping from 6 bars down to 3 after a single light acceleration. You will see it climb back to 7 bars almost instantly during one short braking event. You will see the lowest warning bars appear during conditions that never used to cause them, like a slow climb up a gentle hill. You may see the display freeze on a single bar for unusually long stretches. This is cell imbalance. Inside that hybrid pack are dozens of individual modules wired in series. When one module weakens, the whole pack reads as weak. The car computer cannot pull or push energy reliably because one weak link distorts the readings. Cell imbalance is reversible in many cases through battery reconditioning, which costs a fraction of full replacement, but only if you catch it early enough. Wait too long and the weak modules damage the strong ones, and reconditioning stops being an option. Here is the part nobody tells you. By the time any single one of these signs is severe, a red triangle is usually weeks away. By the time 3 or more are happening at once, you are running on borrowed time. The driver who came in on October 22nd had 2 of these signs in plain view: a sluggish 12-volt startup, and her fuel economy had dropped from 47 to 39 miles per gallon. She thought it was the cold weather. It was not. We replaced the 12-volt battery, cleaned the cooling fan intake, and rebalanced her hybrid pack at a local specialty shop. Total cost, about $600. The dealership had quoted her $4,200 for a full hybrid battery replacement based on a quick scan they had run a week earlier. She drove out of my shop in a car that felt new again, and she has not seen a single warning light in over 8 months. This is the gap most hybrid drivers never close. They wait for the triangle. They trust that modern cars will warn them in time. They assume a clean dashboard means a healthy car. None of that is true for hybrid systems. The triangle is not an early warning. It is a tombstone for the system you ignored. The good news is that every single one of these 5 signs can be checked for free or close to it. A $20 multimeter and 10 minutes will tell you the health of your 12-volt battery. Your own ears will tell you about the cooling fan and the inverter pump. Your trip computer will tell you about fuel economy. The energy display will tell you about cell balance. You do not need a dealership. You do not need a scan tool. You just need to know what you are looking for, and now you do. Modern hybrids are some of the most reliable vehicles ever built when they are maintained correctly. Prius taxis in Vancouver and Tokyo routinely cross 400,000 miles on original drivetrains. There is no reason your hybrid cannot do the same. The drivers who lose theirs early are not unlucky. They simply missed the whispers. If this changed the way you think about your hybrid, hit that like button so more drivers see it before it costs them thousands. Subscribe if you want weekly breakdowns that put control back in your hands, instead of the dealerships. If you have ever caught a hybrid problem early or had a red triangle nightmare of your own, drop your story in the comments. Those stories save other drivers. Because the most expensive hybrid repair is not the one you fix late. It is the one you never saw coming. And now you will.